What? Hey, what is up? There we go. That helps. Yes, it's Dan from the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. You'd be forgiven for thinking it's Samoa Joe. Obviously, in homage to Samoa Joe in the referee shirt today. Yeah, so as you saw by the opening graphic to this episode of Lay The SmackDan, Karrion Kross did indeed dominate Samoa Joe following the NXT Championship match on this episode of NXT. But we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show, because for now we are going to go straight into talking Cameron Grimes and LA Knight. So, as you guys know, obviously I wasn't here last week. There was a match at the Great American Bash edition of NXT that featured Cameron Grimes and LA Knight, where if Cameron Grimes lost, he would have to become LA Knight's butler. And what happened? Well, Cameron Grimes did indeed lose that match, and he did have to become LA Knight's butler. So, in like a show long program, basically, Cameron Grimes and LA Knight obviously had their first interaction, I guess, with as Cameron Grimes as the butler. LA Knight was like, "Look, you need to address me as Mr. Knight." Blah blah blah. Said to Cameron, "Look, we need to get you a makeover." So you see all these people doing some like stuff with Grimes, with his beard and his hair. You're thinking, are they going to shave his head? Are they going to cut all his beard off? But no, they just tidied him up a little bit, much like I really need to be tidied up a little bit. So, yeah, anyway. But yeah, so Cameron Grimes was like, oh my days, I love it. And pretty much throughout this entire segment, every little thing that LA Knight tried to throw at Cameron Grimes, Grimes was like, you know what, bring it on, like, just so happy-go-lucky with everything. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to go through like all of the little bits. I'm going to put it all into one, essentially. So, yeah, so then he asked him to like mow the lawn, and there's one of those, like, obviously the lawn mowers, what you can sit on and it goes around and does it all. Don't know. Obviously, living in an apartment in London, obviously we're not going to have gardens. I'm not going to bloody use a lawnmower. I don't think I've ever used one in my life. But anyway, so yeah, then they had one of the handheld lawnmowers, and LA Knight was like, "Yeah, that's what you're going to be using." And Cameron Grimes was like, "Yeah, that's what my grandma used to make. She used to chase me around the garden on it." Oh, sorry about that. So yeah, my grandma used to chase me around the garden on it. So yeah, again, this is probably just riling LA Knight up a little bit. And then in the final segment, which was probably the funniest one of the lot, you just get Grimes is just sitting there in his pants, and Knight's like, "What the heck are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, you're not the only millionaire here. I basically paid these kids to do everything." So what he'd done is he'd paid a bunch of kids, Cameron Grimes, to do all the chores for him. And LA Knight's like, no, this is not the agreement. And one of the kids is basically like had enough of it, kicks him in the shin. Then LA Knight ends up in the swimming pool, and Cameron Grimes is like, "Oh, is everything okay, Mr. Knight?" And he's just literally loving life at the moment. So you know what? This Cameron Grimes character, it's one of these that you can't help but smile when he's on screen. And there are some talents you're thinking, just please don't go to the main roster, because you're going to get absolutely ruined. And this Cameron Grimes character, I guess, is one of them, because obviously we saw how Vince was $1 million man, and that was like years and years ago, but I just don't feel as though he's going to work as well with this Cameron Grimes character. Although, one interesting way that you could, if they decided to bring him up, is over on SmackDown with this whole King Corbin going, like, losing everything. Maybe have Cameron Grimes as a bit like a sugar daddy thing, coming in and helping Baron Corbin out. But I guess that's one way that they could potentially bring him up if they ever chose to do it. Talking of main roster call-ups, though, one of the matches we did have was Ember Moon taking on Dakota Kai. Ember Moon obviously going it alone now. Her tag team partner, Shotzi, not Shotzi Blackheart anymore. Shotzi moved up to the main roster. Well, up, down, left, right, whatever you want to call it. But she's been moved to the SmackDown brand along with Nox, not Tegan, but just Nox. But yeah, these two had a good match. And then what it led to after, I guess, is probably going to be one of the bigger talking points. And that was at the end of the match, Raquel Gonzales at the end of the match is the one who comes out. And yeah, I mean, so Dakota Kai obviously won this match, but then it's really, really weird. So Raquel comes out, obviously, to, I guess, to celebrate, but then Xia Li, of all people, storms down to the ring, lays down a challenge to Raquel Gonzales, essentially saying to her, look, you're the person that stands in the way of my destiny. I'm guessing that destiny being the NXT Women's Championship. Lays down a challenge. Raquel accepts, and we are getting next week Raquel Gonzales taking on Xia Li. Obviously, Li vanquishing Mercedes Martinez previously. We haven't seen Mercedes since, but yeah. So, big women's title match next week. I wonder what direction they're going to go with that. But sticking with women, I mean, there was quite a bit of women's action on this show, actually. There was Saray essentially accepting the challenge of Gigi Dolin, the former Priscilla Kelly. But yeah, this was, I guess, overshadowed by a return to NXT. That return was by Mandy Rose, of all people. Mandy Rose, who not a night ago was in a tag team title feud, seemingly teaming with Dana Brooke against Natalya and Tamina. But yeah, so obviously Gigi laid down the challenge to Saray for this match. Saray answered it. She beat her in the ring. Dolin won the match, winning the match on her debut. But then Mandy Rose, essentially, we don't know what her role is going to be. But what we do know is that it is full-time. So we know that Mandy Rose is going to be a full-time member of the NXT roster going forward. She's no longer on Monday Night Raw. But then the next match, I guess, is what is going to be... like the next match I'm going to talk about was Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter taking on the Robert Stone brand of Aaliyah and Jessie Kamea. And so they did a angle at the end here where Aaliyah actually turned on Robert Stone. Frankie Monet come down to the ring, attempting to pick up the pieces for this. But it's understood that Aaliyah is the one that is going to be going to Raw to take the place, essentially, of Mandy Rose. So, you know what? Good on her. Aaliyah's definitely improved in the ring over recent months, definitely. You know, she was quite green, I guess, initially, but definitely one that's come on leaps and bounds. And you know what? All credit to her for it. You know, it just shows what you can do when you put your head down and you work really hard. But yeah, then we got so it was announced that Bobby Fish was going to be going face to face essentially with Diamond Mine. So he put a challenge out to them. He ended up facing off against Tyler Rust and found out exactly what Diamond Mine is all about. But he made one critical mistake in this, and that was to focus on his former friend and former Undisputed Era buddy, Roderick Strong, allowing Tyler Rust to get the victory. But after this match, we had Kushida, who got attacked by Diamond Mine when they debuted a couple of weeks ago, to come out and help Bobby Fish here. And yeah, I guess we know now it's going to lead to a tag team match next week. So Roderick Strong teaming with Tyler Rust to take on Kushida and Bobby Fish. So I guess that's pretty much covered most of NXT. All that's left for us to talk about now is the big one, the NXT Championship match. Karrion Kross taking on Johnny Gargano with Samoa Joe donning these bad boys, donning the stripes as special guest referee. So throughout the night, we saw obviously Samoa Joe going up to Karrion Kross, who's doing some warming up. He's telling him basically, this is what I want from the match. You know, I'm going to call it right down the middle. These are the rules that I'm going to lay out to you. Kross just totally ignores him. So then Joe essentially just punches a punch bag, and Kross seems like he's like, look, just don't screw me. Don't screw me over. And then he obviously goes to Johnny backstage as well. And Johnny tries to flog him a t-shirt and stuff. But yeah, I think writing was kind of on the wall, I guess, from that point, really. We kind of knew what was going to go on. But yeah, you know, this was a really good match. And, you know, Gargano almost got the victory. Back-to-back DDTs. Karrion Kross kicking out. Unleashed Fury on Gargano. But finished it with beats downs to the back of the head. Savage forearm, back of the head. 1, 2, 3, and still your NXT champion, Karrion Kross. So it seems Kross's call up to the main roster is delayed slightly. Not cancelled, we don't think. It's going to be delayed. It's inevitable it's going to happen at some point. But who knows when, and who is going to be the man to take the championship off of Karrion Kross? Well, I think it's going to be the man who was a special guest referee in this match, because after the match, Samoa Joe got attacked by Karrion Kross. The cross jacket locked in on Joe. And remember, Samoa Joe cannot retaliate unless provoked. Oh, I'm looking forward to next week. Samoa Joe is gonna kill Karrion Kross. I think Samoa Joe is cleared to wrestle. I think Samoa Joe is gonna be the man to take the championship from Karrion Kross, sending Kross over to Raw or SmackDown, thus ending the reign of dominance. Let's just hope that Joe becomes NXT champion again. If indeed he is. You know, obviously his safety and his health comes before anything. You know, we can wish, we can dream that Samoa Joe can become the champion, and we can hope and pray that he's healthy. But yeah, Samoa Joe, Karrion Kross, take my money. You know what? On that note, I think that's probably a good time for me to get on out of here. But you know what? Give me Karrion Kross and Samoa Joe as soon as possible. You know what? NXT, give them a match on SummerSlam. Put this match on SummerSlam in front of a stadium. You will not be disappointed one bit. I guarantee it. So yeah, that is everything from me, guys. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You can follow us all on Twitter at RMProWrestling, and you can follow me on Twitter at Dan_RebNoise. Don't forget to leave some comments in the comment section down below. Until next time, when I will be reviewing SmackDown, the first show back with fans. I've been Dan. You guys have been great. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and see you soon.